Church leaders weigh in on the crime situation and share plans to be part of the solution. Assurances there is no shortage of fish, nor will the price increase. Concerns raised about the building standard for photovoltaic systems installation not being enforced. And in sports, the Windies lose their first test to England.
Broadcasting from our studios in the Pine St. Michael, this is CBC NewsNight, starting now.
Good evening, I'm Pearson Bowen. In the face of several deadly shootings and other violent criminal acts, Barbadians will soon see some new and intensified approaches from two of the largest local religious denominations. Anglican and Catholic church leaders plan to roll out various programs to combat the surge in crime. Anglican Bishop Michael Maxwell and his Catholic counterpart Bishop Neil Canterbury gave some insight into the way forward following midday Mass at the Roman Catholic Cathedral. Bishop Maxwell says the number of murders is too high and the source of the guns should be investigated. He's identified a number of factors such as the high cost of living, unemployment, drug use, cracks in the education system, and social erosion as root causes. However, the Anglican head says his church will be looking to work closer with schools across the island with the hope of rolling out a new program from September to bring earlier interventions for at-risk youth.
Trying to see if we can get back into the schools in relation to offering some counseling, offering some services in the schools. We have also, for a long time, but COVID kind of knocked out of our wind, where we were actually seeking to ask the schools to identify young persons who may be struggling in their lives at this point in time, so that the nearby churches to those schools can link with their families and try to assist them where we can, because again we think we need to target them as early as possible before they come out of school.
Catholic Bishop of Bridgetown Neil Canterbury believes the crime surge stems from a slide in values. Stressing the need for people to pray for guidance and forgiveness, he says the bloodshed and crime are uncalled for. The head of the local Catholic Church says attention needs to be given to the island's air and sea borders to determine the source of weapons. He also wants to see stiffer penalties for gun possession. Regarding youth, he says they should be involved in sports and other wholesome activities. He's also outlined some of the plans his church will be introducing soon, which include prayer and healing sessions.
In the areas that the crimes are having, that are occurring, to pray there and to bring healing there. Also, looking at down the road, and I guess you all wanted first to hear about what I'm thinking of doing. It is doing a healing sessions for families. And that's important. All our families are in need of healing. We individuals, we don't realize the baggage that we are bringing along, from our great-grandparents and beyond, coming on down the road.
Both bishops were speaking after attending this afternoon's midday Mass in solidarity with those affected by Hurricane Beryl. Hosted by the Catholic Diocese of Bridgetown, the service offered prayers for those across the region and locally. The collection from the service, along with non-perishable items, will be distributed to the affected islands. In the homily, Father Charles Dominique reminded them of God's presence at all times and the importance of contributing and giving thanks despite the circumstances.
Yes, it'll take time to recover, and while it may take a long time for some and maybe quicker for others, God also acted by touching the hearts of all of us. And so the places that were extensively damaged, the aid began to flow in almost immediately, and is still flowing in. We will be sending what we collect also. And that is more than just being a neighbor. It is being a brother. It is being a sister, because that is who we are. All it is that we are simply divided by water, by the ocean. That is showing the presence of God in the midst of broken structures in our lives.
Fisheries officials are dispelling rumors of a fish shortage and associated price hikes. Minister of the Environment, National Beautification and the Blue and Green Economy, Adrian Ford, says that is not the case. He made the comments after meeting with 5 fish processors on island today. He says, as it stands, July is usually the end of the large pelagic fish season, when fishing boats will usually be hauled out of the route for routine maintenance. Rachel Agard attended that press conference and filed this report.
Minister Ford is assuring Barbadians the price of fish will not be increased, nor is there a shortage of the delicacy on island. His comments come against the backdrop of concerns raised on social media in recent days and a meeting held with the island's 5 fish processors. He says there is no immediate fallout to the fishing industry following the passing of Hurricane Beryl.
There will be no immediate increase in the price of fish, albeit that everything remains equal. There will be no immediate or long-term shortage of fish. They have given us the calm assurance after doing this business for the better part, sometimes 30, 40 years, that they are well equipped to handle any perceived shortages of fish. They will do what they have to do in terms of their operations, and they are willing, ready, and able to partner, as they have been doing for a very long time, to partner with us to ensure that Barbadians are able to have fish as part of their palate.
Meanwhile, Chief Fisheries Officer Dr. Shelley-Ann Cox gave an update on the hauling out of the boats in the Bridgetown Fisheries Complex. She says by the end of yesterday, 123 boats were removed so far, 122 of which were damaged, including 64 totally written off. She adds they have identified 26 sunken boats, and the operation of lifting those begins tomorrow with a team of divers. The chief also calls for those with metal drums to assist with propping boats once they have been removed from the water.
We will not know the official figures until we start to lift them up. So tomorrow is a very intense diving operation. We had a briefing with them this morning, 9:30, 10 o'clock. And we have over, I believe, 25 volunteer divers that will be trying to get the partially submerged and sunken boats out. We have, from the underwater robots, Caribbean aerial photography, there are boats that are sandwiched between ice boxes and concrete slabs. So it's quite challenging.
Additionally, Dr. Cox says they are exploring temporary fueling stations at Oistins and Port St. Charles for boats that may need to refuel and go out to sea until Bridgetown has been repaired.
We have one boat that will be going out on Monday, but there are about 7 that opted not to be hauled up. They had very minor repairs and will be going out fishing before the end of the month. The longliners do fish throughout the year, but they are targeting tuna, yellowfin, and big-eye tuna for export purposes.
In the meantime, the affected players in the fishing industry will continue to pick up the pieces. Rachel Agard, CBC News.
The Barbados Light and Power Company Limited is raising concern that the building standards in relation to rooftop or ground-mounted photovoltaic systems are not being enforced. According to BL&P's Director of Operations, Johan Graves, such standards are necessary as the island transitions to increased dependence on renewable energy technologies. He says currently more than 13% of the island's electrical energy demand is supplied by these systems.
Without these systems being installed to an appropriate building standard, it is likely that a number of the existing systems will be damaged or destroyed during the passage of storms or hurricanes. This could lead to a serious crisis if or when the island experiences one of these powerful systems with no plan in place. This needs to change if we are to be better prepared for the impact of climate change on storms in our region.
Mr. Graves added that photovoltaic systems being damaged during a weather system will result in reduced generated capacity for this island.
From our review of other islands, PV systems experience substantial damage And while it may take a few weeks to complete repairs to the electrical grid, in many cases, repairs to PV systems take a lot longer time and can be in excess of months. This could lead to a shortage of generation capacity and result in electricity shortages for an island. Hence, as we seek to transition to renewable technologies, we need to ensure that appropriate building standards are put in place and we factor in resilience into the design of these systems.
Coming up, the Barbados Workers Union highlights the importance of continuous training for seafarers. The Barbados Workers Union is highlighting the critical need for continuous training for seafarers. This follows the union's participation in a two-day conference organized by the International Transport Workers Federation. Communications and Information Specialist with the BWU, Miracle Ann King, says health and safety training at the island's ports is essential to ensuring a safe environment for all workers.
We found that many workers lack proper training, leading to unsafe practices and inefficiencies. Sometimes even workers are thrust into roles without adequate preparation, and even the training they receive is not necessarily best practice, but rather customary practice. This can result in mistakes, near misses, or even accidents.
Inspector Coordinator with the International Transport Workers Federation, Steve Trout, says the agency can now provide more robust support to seafarers in more than 100 countries.
Seafarers at sea for many months at a time on the world's harshest environment, the world's oceans, away from their home, away from their loved ones and family. It's really desperate times sometimes, and so we should be, and we are, providing guidance on mental health, on stress, and how to recognise it and manage it. And we're doing this through our affiliated unions, through our contact networks, and through our inspectors.
11-year-old Jessie Olton is making a difference, one T-shirt at a time, to promote literacy, anti-violence, and faith. And the Charles F. Broome Primary School student was able to transpose those very values in achieving success at this year's Barbados Secondary School's entrance exam, and will be off to his first choice, Harrison College, in September. The deputy head boy tells CBC News his business, Jessie's Productions, was inspired by a YouTuber, and he credits his mother, Tara Mears, for encouraging him to follow his dream. And he intends to build out his business as he goes on to secondary school.
The responses, I guess I would say people love it, and a lot of people support me. Teachers, friends, parents, everybody supports me. We were working on some ideas, like my Larry Mac series, where we showed me, my sister, my parents, and just different people learn how to make things for JPro.
Ms. Mears says when her son approached her about starting his business, she fully supported him.
But having a balance is very important. So we had to recognize that there were some times that we give all the attention to the business, and there are other times where school was the focus. And really and truly that played out well for him, because in the last couple of months it was common entrance, common entrance, common entrance. And it still worked out because, as he said, one of his core values for his business is literacy. So I believe that he walked that right out. And we are so excited about that.
Well, going forward, Ms. Mears said she will continue to coach Jessie in the right direction as he builds out his business and balances school. Well, just over 40 little ones are officially ready to transition from the Olga Miller Nursery to primary school. They graduated during a closing ceremony at the Wyndham Grand Barbados. Rianne Phillips has those details.
The closing ceremony marks the official end of nursery education for these youngsters and the beginning of their move to primary school. For the occasion, they also displayed their talent in song, dance, and music before appreciative parents, guardians, and specially invited guests. It's also an official goodbye for Principal Sonia Barker, who's bowing out of teaching after 40-plus years.
I have finally reached the end. Initially, I would have gone on for another year, but the parents and the teachers of the school would have recognized that, as I said to a lot of persons, sometimes your body tells you when it's tired.
The principal has this nugget of advice for parents.
Nursery school was only the prerequisite. The children are now moving on to harder work. They're going to be writing. They're going to be reading, all of those things, and they need you. So you have to learn what the children are learning. So you have to keep abreast, keep in touch with the teachers, keep in touch with the school, and more so, make sure that you continue with the PTA. It is where you get the most information outside of the classroom.
And featured speaker Dr. Patricia Saul advises parents to be mindful of who their children interact with.
Be careful who their friends are and where they congregate. Keep them off the blocks. Additionally, social media is rife with things that can pollute and contaminate the minds of our young children, robbing them of their ability to grow and glow. You need to monitor your children's access to social media. Do not use it as a babysitter for your children. You need to know what your children are viewing on social media. Be aware of the sites that they are visiting.
The new school year is set to begin mid-September. Rianne Phillips, CBC News.
Barbadian scholar and the former president of the Caribbean Development Bank, Sir Neville Nichols, has died. Called to the bar in 1957, Sir Neville represented the government at several regional conferences on the establishment of the Caribbean Free Trade Association and the Caribbean Development Bank. He also served at numerous public and private sector institutions, including the Judicial and Legal Services Commission, the Committee of Governance of the University of the West Indies, the Public Service Commission, and the Cayfield Campus Council of the UWI. He also worked as Chief Parliamentary Counsel in the Attorney General's Chambers and was the third president of the CDB, serving from 1998 to 2001. Sir Neville, who was made a Knight of St. Andrew in Barbados Independence Honours of 1990, was appointed to the Privy Council the following year. In recognition of his years of distinguished service, Sir Neville received a number of honours, including Honorary Doctor of Laws from the University of the West Indies.
Sports Night is brought to you by Power Inn. Pause is power. And by Dasani. Live first, Dasani after.
Time for some Friday night sporting action. We're joined by Mark Seal. Mark, good evening.
Very good evening. Hills Academy of Australia are the champions of the 34th Sagari Under-19 International Cricket Tournament. In the final, initially reduced to 33 overs per side due to rain at the 3Ws Oval, the New York Tri-State Giants batted first and were dismissed for 97 in 29.1 overs. Sabri Prasad top scored with 30, while Kyle Thornley had 3 for 19. We have highlights from that innings.
You know, Milton Small, he would have gone there in the 1984 tour, and that's a wicket for Neil Bargamoff. Higgins goes leg before wicket for, and I find like the field placements here for these guys. That one's gone to hand and it's carried all the way to point.
Kudos to those guys.
You see them going for a big hit and he was caught. Lay the platform for us. A bowling Don Lovell. A full delivery by Thornley.
The two T20s. Chance for catch. Catch taken. Oh, no, he didn't actually take it. What's going on? In the end, the catch was, when he dropped it, I think he was in trouble with the rope. But then, there was some mix-up in terms of the rope, but the Australians had the presence of mind to throw the stumps down, and the wicket falls. Most unfortunate.
You don't have the benefit of, I know, play resumes, and immediately Katula is cleaned up. And he starts over number 6. And that is the end of the innings as Taj, Ishan Taj, is caught at cover, slashing the delivery outside in the off stump. First delivery of over number 6 by Isaac Earl and the New York Tri-State A. They have been dismissed in 29.1 overs.
Then, in reply, the match was reduced further to 92 runs off 30 overs, and Hills Academy made 92 for 8 off 29.3 to win by 2 wickets. Isaac Earl top scored with 29, while Posad took 3 for 16. Now, Barbados go into tomorrow's semi-finals still undefeated after winning their last preliminary match of the Netball Under-21 Youth World Cup qualifier being played in Guadeloupe. Last night, they defeated rivals Trinidad and Tobago by just 1 goal, 45-44, after leading by the quarters 11-6, 22-19, and 34-31. The Barbados Under-21s will play against Grenada at 7 p.m. tomorrow in semi-final number 2.
In business tonight, tourism and hospitality stakeholders are meeting in Barbados for the Global MICE Conference. That is the Meeting, Incentive, Conferencing and Exhibitions Conference, the Barbados edition, also called the Barbados Land Exchange. Trevor Thorpe reports.
President and Chief Executive Officer of the E-Communications Group Incorporated, Robert Burke, says the meeting is coming at an important time. He believes its success will come from the networking done during the sessions. While showering high praise on the Wyndham Resort for its efforts at hosting the 4-day exercise, he goes on to explain the importance of the meeting.
The exchange is known as the #1 ROI event in the MICE industry. And it's not coming from me, it's coming from the participants. Business is a very, very important part of what we do. In many of the shows we attend, it's always, hey, how you doing? Nice to meet you, see you around, and you never see them except on the way to the airport. But here we are. It's a great group. We've got DMCs, we've got hotels and resorts, we have cruise lines, we have global gifting. We have every aspect of the incentive business, including air. I don't want to leave that out.
Chief Executive Officer of the Barbados Tourism Marketing Incorporated, Andrea Franklin, speaking to participants, says Barbados has the infrastructure, support and services to cater to all aspects of business. She says at the end of the conference, visiting stakeholders will leave with an appreciation for what earned Barbados so many accolades over the years.
Therefore, it is our goal to cultivate stronger relationships with our esteemed North American buyers, nurturing partnerships that are built to last and thrive. And finally, we intend to show you some of the best experiences that Barbados has to offer, to inspire you to create programs that we are confident will appeal to your clients. Barbados is renowned for a high quality of service, warm hospitality, and unique heritage. And we believe that after this week, you will leave with a rich appreciation for what has earned our island paradise so many accolades over the years.
Ms. Franklin urges the delegates to make good use of the face-to-face opportunities the conference offers.
This week, as we embark on this journey together, I invite each of you to seize the opportunities that lie ahead. Engage deeply, connect earnestly, and immerse yourselves in the infectious spirit of Barbados.
The BDMA official says by hosting this conference will strengthen Barbados' position as a premier destination for hosting MICE events. Trevor Thorpe for the Business Report.
The skill and expertise of Caribbean chefs will be on show tomorrow. That's when regional carrier Caribbean Airlines presents Flavor and Flora, a celebration of Caribbean cuisine. Barbadian Marvin Applewhite is included among a list of chefs who will be showcasing their talent at the Trinidad Hilton tomorrow, starting at 6 p.m. The celebration of Caribbean cuisine is another element of the airline's Caribbean culture agenda, and attendees will get the opportunity to indulge in an array of Caribbean dishes hors d'oeuvres, desserts, and rum cocktails. Adding to the celebrations will be performances by international soca star Machel Montano and Leandra Head. More sports now as we're rejoined by Mark Seal.
As promised, road tennis, $20,000 will once again be up for grabs as the third Barbados Road Tennis Open is set to begin later this month. The tournament was launched this morning at the Ministry of Sports. CBC's Anmar Goodrich-Boyce reports.
Over the course of the next 9 weeks, the island's best players will contest the 2024 edition of the biggest road tennis tournament in Barbados. While the numbers compared to last year are down, still more than 100 players have already entered in both the men's and women's competitions. Speaking at today's official launch, Sports Minister Charles Griffith said government is continuing its effort to make road tennis an event at the Olympics through the development of the sport locally. The minister also said plans are in the works to ensure players can be compensated through a semi-professional system in the future.
We are doing what is necessary as a government to ensure that we grow the sports, to make sure that road tennis, that is our indigenous sport, is alive and well, and that we could have a similar situation to what happened on Wednesday when the minister launched the semi-professional Prime Minister's Cup. And we're hoping that this is something that I will sit down with my team to see how best we can look to have a tournament that also would provide a stipend for players as they move through the process.
The minister revealed that this year players will benefit from improved technology with the inclusion of a new scoring software called Courtside. The new enhancements will move road tennis and other sports into the modern era.
And I'm hoping that other sports on the island will be able to mimic what is happening with the software that was created for road tennis. And the fact that we are now in the 21st century, I've always been preaching that technology should be embedded in our sports in terms of, if not video analysis, using technology to better the game and to have our athletes rise to a different level.
Director of Sports at the National Sports Council, Neil Murrell, says the tournament is a testimony that road tennis in Barbados is on the rise.
There's the notion that the journey of 10,000 miles begins with a single step. And clearly today, this morning, we are getting better and better with the development of road tennis.
The tournament will be played at various locations, including Belfield, Bush Hall, Gull Hill in St. John, and Diamond Corner in St. Peter, from July 28th to September 22nd. The finals are set for the Wildy Gym. Anmar Goodrich-Boyce, CBC Sports.
Ronald Suki King is still the best drafts player in Barbados. He won the Barbados Open Drafts Championship last night at the All Souls Church Hall. King finished on 27 points from 5 2-love victories and a 1-love. Arch rival Jack Francis and Michael Barker were the only players who managed to draw against King. Francis also played unbeaten but failed to achieve enough wins to challenge Suki. Francis finished on 21 points. Michael Barker was third with 19, while visiting American player Eric Strange was fifth with 18. Now in the other categories, Tyrone Batson won the majors division, while Bradley Neverson won the minors. Heather Walker has created history by winning back-to-back International Equestrian Association Challenge events. After she won the Jumping World Challenge Category C competition last month on the British mare Nobelux, Walker next was victorious again in the 2024 Eventing World Challenge Category C competition recently, which comprised a dressage test followed by a cross-country and short jumping derby. No local equestrian has ever won 2 FEI World Challenges in 2 disciplines in the same year in the history of the sport in Barbados. And of the 9 starters on the Whitehall Equestrian Centre's polo field, only 4 pairs completed the tough event. Walker's outstanding dressage test and clear derby round surpassed the 3 other riders and saw her closing with a fantastic score of 31.3 penalties. This result is expected to be among the top international scores in the Category C FEI eventing competition. Now in second place at this inaugural event was 15-year-old Zachary Pitcher on Mr. Blue. This duo overcame the odds and jumped an amazing clear derby round to finish with 41.5 penalties and outshine two far more accomplished equestrian pairs in Naya Hines on Lipstick, who finished third with 42.2 penalties, and Adriana Watson on Soca Kid, who closed on 59.3 penalties for fourth position.
Well, that's our time tonight. Thank you for spending it with us. I'm Pearson Bowen. For the crew, to all of you, good night and have a wonderful weekend.